You're 45, working 80-hour weeks, living on energy drinks and takeout. And then you get the diagnosis. You know what's absolutely wild about us humans? We'll literally destroy our bodies chasing money, success, and material things, skipping meals, pulling all-nighters, ignoring that weird chest pain because we don't have time for doctors. But the moment we get sick, suddenly we'll spend every last penny we earned just to feel normal again. And here's a stat that'll blow your mind. The average person spends 2,080 hours per year working, but only 2 hours per year on preventive healthcare. That's literally 0.1% of their working time dedicated to maintaining the body that makes all that work possible. You won't believe what I discovered when I dug deeper into this. It's like we're playing this bizarre game where the prize for winning is the ability to pay for what we should have been protecting all along. Today, we're diving deep into what I call the health paradox, and trust me, once you see this pattern, you'll notice it everywhere. But here's the thing that'll really blow your mind. Science has actually figured out why we do this seemingly irrational thing. The evidence. Let me share some numbers that'll make you uncomfortable. According to research published in the Journal of the American Medical Association, the average American spends about $200 per year on preventive healthcare. That's like one nice dinner out per month. But when they get seriously ill, the average cost of a heart attack treatment is $53,000. Cancer treatment? We're talking anywhere from $150,000 to over $1 million. But here's the number that made me literally stop scrolling when I first saw it. 76% of Americans say they can't afford a $1,000 emergency, yet the average person will spend $1,400 per year on coffee and takeout while skipping their annual physical. We're literally choosing caffeine over cardiovascular health. And you won't believe this. There's a study that tracked people for 20 years, and those who worked more than 55 hours per week were 33% more likely to have a stroke. But here's the kicker, those same people were earning 15% more money, which they then spent on, you guessed it, medical bills. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is backed by solid research from behavioral economists like Nobel Prize winner Richard Thaler. Our brains are literally wired to make these seemingly backwards decisions through something called present bias. See, there's this fascinating study from Carnegie Mellon University that tracked 2,000 people over 10 years. They found that people who earned more money actually took worse care of their health during their earning years. The researchers called it wealth-health substitution. We literally trade our health for wealth, thinking we can buy it back later. Dr. David Cutler from Harvard published groundbreaking research showing that for every hour we work beyond 50 hours per week, our likelihood of developing chronic illness increases by 7%. 7%. And yet, what do? We work more hours to afford the lifestyle that's making us sick. Weaving in opinion. Now, I've been thinking about this a lot lately because, and I'm being totally honest here, I've caught myself doing this exact thing. Last year, I was so focused on growing my channel, taking every opportunity, that I was literally eating cereal for dinner and getting maybe 4 hours of sleep. My body was screaming at me, but I kept thinking, just one more month, one more project, then I'll focus on health. Sound familiar? We tell ourselves these stories, right? I'll eat better when I'm less busy. I'll exercise when I have more time. I'll go to the doctor when I'm less stressed. It's like we think health is this thing we can put on layaway. Exploring the contradiction. But here's where it gets complicated, and this is something a lot of people don't want to hear. There's actually some logic to our madness. Research from the Economic Policy Institute shows that 40% of Americans can't afford a $400 emergency expense. For these folks, skipping preventive care isn't necessarily about being short-sighted, it's about survival. When you're choosing between paying rent or getting a checkup, the choice is pretty clear. Dr. Michael Marmot's famous Whitehall studies revealed something even more complex. People in lower socioeconomic positions literally have less control over their work schedules, their stress levels, their environment. The idea that everyone can just choose to prioritize health equally is, well, it's privileged thinking. And there's another uncomfortable truth, sometimes the sacrifice actually works out. There are plenty of people who worked themselves to the bone in their 20s and 30s, built financial security, and then used that security to live healthier lives later. Is it optimal? Probably not. But is it completely irrational? Maybe not either. The deeper psychology. But here's what really fascinated me when I dug into the research. There's this thing called temporal discounting that explains why we make these choices. Basically, our brains value immediate rewards way more than future benefits. It's evolutionary. For most of human history, there was no long term. You survived today or you didn't. Dr. Lawrence Steinberg's research at Temple University shows that this isn't just about being dumb or short-sighted. When we're stressed or focused on immediate survival, which is exactly what our work culture creates, the part of our brain responsible for long-term planning literally shuts down. Think about that. The very stress of trying to succeed makes us biologically incapable of making the decisions that would help us succeed long-term. It's like a cruel joke. Finding common ground. So where does this leave us? Because I don't think the answer is just work less. That's not realistic for most people. And it's not ignore money. Financial stress is literally a health risk too. What I've learned from all this research is that the healthiest people aren't necessarily the ones who choose health over success. They're the ones who figured out how to make health part of their success strategy. There's this concept from Dr. Jim Loher called corporate athlete training. Elite athletes don't train harder, they train smarter. They understand that recovery isn't the opposite of performance. It's what makes performance possible. The most successful people I know have figured this out too. Take Arianna Huffington. She literally built an empire, then had a wake-up call when she collapsed from exhaustion. Instead of choosing between success and health, she rebuilt her approach to make sleep and wellness non-negotiable parts of her productivity system. Her company didn't suffer, it thrived. Or look at the research on high-performing teams from Google's Project Aristotle. The most successful teams weren't the ones working the most hours, they were the ones who had figured out sustainable practices that maintained both performance and well-being. The broader questions. But this raises some bigger questions that I can't stop thinking about. Like, what if our entire economic system is basically designed to create this paradox? What if the way we measure success, always more, always growing, always competing, is fundamentally incompatible with human health? And here's something that keeps me up at night. Are we teaching our kids the same destructive patterns? When we glorify the hustle, when we celebrate people who grind until they break, are we just perpetuating this cycle? I'm genuinely curious, have you noticed this pattern in your own life? That moment when you realize you've been so busy making a living that you forgot to make a life? Drop a comment and let me know, because I think we're all figuring this out together. The challenge. Here's what I want to challenge you with, and I'm doing this too. What if, instead of waiting for a health crisis to force us to change, we started small right now? Not dramatic life overhauls, but tiny shifts that acknowledge both our need for success and our need for health. I'm calling this the 2% Health Challenge, and here's exactly how it works. Take 2% of your waking hours each day and dedicate them to health. That's just 19 minutes. Not 2 hours at the gym, not a complete diet overhaul, just 19 minutes. Here's your specific challenge for the next 7 days. Day 1-2, 10-minute walk during lunch plus 9 minutes of stretching before bed. Day 3-4, add 5 minutes of deep breathing when you wake up. Day 5-7, schedule that doctor's appointment you've been putting off. Comment below with 2% challenge accepted, and then update us each day with what you did. I'll be doing this too and sharing my progress. Let's see if we can get 1,000 people to commit to this. Because here's the thing. We're all going to spend our health or our wealth eventually. The question is, do we get to choose how? Your 19 minutes start tomorrow.